If you guys want a way too early 53-man roster projection for the Bengals, then show us by sharing today's video. Obviously, schedules come out. We've got more Bengals OTA stuff to come in the near future. If you want that roster projection, simply share today's video on social media. Today we're going to run through the Bengals roster as it sits before OTAs get going in a couple of days and look at it from a depth chart perspective, position by position, beginning with what else but the quarterback room. The Bengals are in pretty great shape as long as QB1 stays healthy, right? That is Joe Burrow. Jake Browning did emerge as a viable, reliable backup quarterback. I would not anticipate the Bengals carrying a third QB on the 53-man roster. Probably room for one of them on the practice squad. That could be Logan Woodside, or it could end up probably a bit unlikely being Rocky Lombardi. The running back room got some change, but the Bengals didn't draft a player the way some thought they might. Chase Brown, I am excited to see more of in 2024. I am most intrigued, though, by the addition of Zack Moss, who'd been a little bit up and down, inconsistent, hadn't had a feature workload necessarily for portions of his career in Buffalo in particular. Ends up going to Indianapolis, and he played very well. Only, quote-unquote, 4.3 yards per carry, but all of the advanced metrics were really good. The efficiency, the big play stuff. I loved that signing by Cincinnati. I think if you keep him around the 180-ish touch mark, you could maybe push for more like 4.5 or even higher than that yards per carry. I am anticipating something very close to a career season out of Zack Moss. Plus Chase Brown is there. Bengals made a big deal about being more explosive this offseason. Moss and Brown leading the way, plus pick one of Trayveon Williams, Chris Evans, Elijah Collins, or Noah Cain. Probably Williams would be my guess, or another addition. Who knows? I think explosiveness will be a thing on the ground this year, in the way it wasn't with Joe Mixon. The wide receiver room, again, non-Bengals fans. Tee Higgins not going anywhere, at least this season. He's going to be a Bengal. Jamar Chase is one of, if not the best receiver in football. Put him in the Justin Jefferson bucket. Funnily enough, both LSU guys. Jermaine Burton, I do think, as the higher draft pick investment, probably has the edge to be wide receiver 3. Trenton Irwin gives you a great floor for wide receiver 5. But there are two other younger receivers I do want to focus in on. That's Charlie Jones and Andrei Iosivas. Two guys I liked coming out of the 2023 NFL draft out of Purdue and Princeton. Jones was banged up, didn't do a ton of things we were hopeful for, did flash some special teams ability, which does matter. Iosivas, especially in the red zone, played really well, and he offers some bigger size than what Jones offers. So I kind of went by draft pick investment for wide receiver 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., with Irwin being the vet in there. But between Burton, Jones, Irwin, Iosivas, you can shuffle around your order as you see fit. We'll see if anyone like Kendrick Pryor or Kwame Lassiter or Shed Jackson or maybe Cole Burtis, who does offer some potential return value, makes an impact. Today's pinned comment is this. I want you to rate the Bengals roster Madden style. So 1 to 99 is your min-max, although you don't see much in the below the 60s or 70s and not that much in the upper 90s. But it is the pinned comment, so go rate the Bengals roster at the pinned comment of today's video, especially if the ad comes here on the YouTube side. The tight end room has undergone some change and some additional investments. Not the high-end, super impactful investments from money or draft pick status, but they did bring in Mike Gesicki on a one-year deal. I expect, and hopefully I'm not disappointed, but I expect this to be more of a Hayden Hurst impact than a Irv Smith impact. Drew Sample, Tanner Hudson return. We'll see if Eric All has to begin the year on the NFI list or the PUP list coming off the knee injury. He's not there yet. They also drafted Tanner McLaughlin in the 6th round, who they are fairly high on. They're not going to carry 5 tight ends. Probably going to be max of 4. And we'll see if All's on that 53-man roster come week 1 coming off the injury. But I do feel a little bit better about this tight end room than I felt, early on last season. The offensive line also underwent some minor tweaks, mostly on the right side. Orlando Brown, Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa all back. Trent Brown signs a cheap one-year deal. It's a matter of when, not if, Amarius Mims emerges as the starter. Cannot wait for that to happen. Those guys are all roster locks. I'd say Cody Ford is kind of like your top backup overall, outside of maybe right tackle since Mims would do that, and center, of course. He is there, so that's 7 offensive linemen. I want Matt Lee to make the team, even over Trey Hill. We'll see if that ends up happening. That's probably 8, and then it's guys like Jackson Kirkland, who was mostly practice squad last year. Deontay Smith, 2021 pick, along with fellow 2021 pick Jackson Carman, the 4th and 2nd rounders, respectively. It's kind of now or never for those guys to emerge. Ford can play left tackle if you need him to. Trent Brown can play left tackle if you need him to. I am not sure there's going to be room for both Smith and Carman. And you wouldn't mind somebody breaking out at left guard, but probably going to be Volson for at least one more year. Speaking of Mims, you can get his rookie jersey on sale at chatsports.com/Amarius Mims. It is available to buy. It is officially the number 71 jersey. It'll take a little bit because they just launched them on Fanatics, so you can't get them overnight there. Of course, it is the full price as well since it is a brand new rookie jersey. But you can rep, hopefully, the player that becomes a linchpin of the Bengals offensive line. Frankly, for the next 10-plus years, Bengals need to hit on one of these offensive lineman draft picks in a major way. I believe in Mims' talent. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/Amarius Mims. Over to the defense, Trey Hendrickson. He reported for voluntary workouts there. He's not going to get traded. Sam Hubbard coming off his own injury, but he's a really good run defender. We'll come back to this depth chart more in depth, but Myles Murphy needs to take a step forward. We saw flashes of it at times in 2023 once he got out there. It is a high bar, make no mistake about it. I want to see him at least double those impact numbers, namely TFLs and sacks. I need to give him more snaps. Bengals can't keep doing this. We drafted a player for the future and then push off the future, and then once the future arrives, it's, well, we don't know how good he is. Got to play him. So he needs to be your number 3 player in the rotation. That's over Joseph Asai, who's kind of on his last legs too, I think, with this team. It's over Cam Sample. It's over Cedric Johnson, over Jeffrey Gunter. All players, by the way, who were draft picks. Asai was a 4th. Asai was a 3rd. Sample was a 4th. Johnson a 6th this year. Gunter was a 7th. It's a lot of draft pick invested. You're not going to carry 7 defensive linemen, by the way, at least the defensive ends. Got to start making some decisions there. So back to Myles Murphy. Will he have a breakout season? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Maybe no room on the Bengals roster has undergone more change than the defensive tackle room. Of their top 4 players, one of them was on the team last year, at least with how I expect this room to play out. B.J. Hill is back. He'll be a good player for them, probably as last year given his contract. Sheldon Rankins is being counted on in a different way than what the Bengals counted on for DJ Reader. They needed more interior pressure than just Hill and Reader were giving them. Rankins can do that. Chris Jenkins is a good run-stopping 3 technique, has the athletic traits to be more than that as a pass rusher once he does things that were different than what Michigan always asked him to do. Love Jenkins' upside. A little early for me, but the DT run kind of happened early, so I was fine with that pick in the end. Plus, I think he meshes well with Rankins and Hill. And then McKinley Jackson is your nose guard. There's your run stopper. Does flash some good athletic ability, by the way. Then it's maybe one other guy, if that. This might be the end of the road for Zachary Carter. That's been a really disappointing pick. Picking Jenkins in the 2nd round tells you how this team feels about Carter, by the way. And then maybe somebody like Dominique Davis, Jay Tufele, etc., carve out a backup nose guard role if Jackson maybe needs more time. Over to the linebacker room. And this is pretty well established. Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Joe Bacci could find a spot. Devin Harper, Shaka Hayward, Muma Jongmeta, Aaron Casey. A lot of special teams value there. It's a good room overall. I need better play from my top guys. Logan Wilson's numbers look fine. Oh, a bunch of tackles, a bunch of TFLs. Sacks went down a little bit. The tackles are higher because they're coming a little bit more downfield than they need to be. Got beaten coverage a bit more than I like. There were flashes of good play out of Jermaine Pratt last year as well. Bengals have paid Wilson and Pratt. I need those guys to be high-end linebackers. They're going to be out there for almost every snap. I need more splash and impact plays out of them. Hopefully, the defensive tackle room investments and your back-end investments at safety will also lead to better results in between those spots at linebacker. The Bengals cornerback room might not be done getting adjustments. I still wonder if DJ Turner, Mike Hilton, and Dax Hill are all best at nickel, but you're not moving Hilton out of the nickel right now. CTB's in line to be cornerback 1, which he basically was last year. Need a bit more growth from DJ Turner in year 2. And I'm curious what ends up happening with Daxton Hill. We'll come back to cornerback room more in depth, by the way, in a second. Hill's numbers, 110 tackles, 6 TFLs, 11 PBUs, and there are way too many coverage busts still. He just didn't grasp it the way he needed to at times at safety. I don't know if he can play outside corner. We'll find out more during really training camp in the preseason. He'll get a lot of run, I suspect. Maybe he just becomes the backup nickel. Or maybe he just gets the Trey Flowers role, where it's Dax, go cover the tight end on third down. And that's a valuable role for year 1, and then I guess year 3, but year 4 he takes over as the nickel. Excited about Josh Newton long-term as well. Probably needs some time to grow and adapt to the speed, of course, of the National Football League. We will have more Bengals videos for you right here on the channel, so subscribe so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/BengalsTV. Remember how I said the DT room underwent massive change? Yeah, the safety room did too, actually, now that we get to it. First, it is a return. Von Bell's back. I think he's going to start, by the way, over Jordan Battle, but Battle has a chance to play a key role there. Geno Stone, I am super hyped about. Loved that signing for the Bengals. He fits what they need in the back end there. I like Tyson Anderson, if healthy, as safety 4. You're probably not going to carry Jules or Dow, maybe not even Anderson, because Hill can also play safety in a pinch. Although, again, you're not really planning on that right now. Hopefully Anderson comes back from that unfortunate knee injury. When it comes to the roster only, what is the biggest need left for Cincinnati? Go ahead and drop that position group for me in the comments. We won't spend too much time on the return game. I'm very curious how that all ends up playing out. I could see Trayveon Williams, Chris Evans, Charlie Jones, Chase Brown, somebody we haven't mentioned emerge as a kick return option. The rules are changing this year. Evan McPherson's your kicker. Cal Adamitis is your long snapper. Brad Robbins versus Austin McNamara for the punter battle. Hopefully we don't spend much time on that in the actual games, but it will be a talking point leading up to them.